We are back, Charlie. We are back
Guess
to
who's
get
back?
ship done.
Let's get ship done.
I am so excited. I am going to start some music and let's get into it. Why don't we?
Let's do this thing.
I'm going to do that one because we figured out it loops well.
Oh,
Meryl,
yeah.
can you do me a favor, Meryl, and see if you can find some more like this? I don't know. Meryl is listening in the back end here, but yeah, if you can find a few more that loop like this one did, that would be good. See, the key thing that we were looking, or that makes this one work well, is you can kind of see in the waveform that there isn't a build and then a decline. It just sort of just keeps going. So that's what you'd be looking for, Meryl. If you can find some more like that, maybe. If you can find some more like that and get some in. This is a good option, but I just know we'll want multiple. So okay, so Charlie, I'm excited. We're gonna be working on my mid-ticket offer today. Yeah,
I love this idea.
Yeah, me too. So let's talk through it. So here's what I'm thinking. I have an AI agent that I set up called Brandy, and here's what Brandy does. Brandy, it's a combination of things. So, one, all of my meetings are recorded through through multiple tools, but the main one that triggers this automation is Crisp. Crisp is the one that I use for this. But any of the like Fathom Note Taker, Crisp, anything else, anything that gets you a transcription. If you can automate that when that transcription happens, you trigger something else. That's kind of what I'm basing this off of. Right now, most of the tools seem to by default integrate with Zapier. Fireflies does have the ability to fire a webhook, but I'm already paying for Crisp, and I don't like just adding more subscriptions for what feels like a minor feature. But really, ideally, Fireflies would probably be ideal for me. But anyway, I digress. The key thing that starts is that you have meeting recorded. That creates a transcript. You have some sort of automation that takes that transcript and then triggers the rest of this process. And so what I'm doing with that is my transcripts are going through a flow where I extract what I call content packs, right? And actually, I haven't been doing it in the way that I first designed, and I kind of want to go back to doing it the way that I first designed. But I'm extracting content packs, and content packs are this idea where it's looking through the transcript in order to describe what are some of the key ideas that were talked about in this, right? Because here's the reality: I do a lot of my work by meeting, right? Like I meet with clients, I meet with prospective clients, and in the process of doing that, I tend to say things like, "Here's the way that I approach this, and here's how you do this," and like I essentially convey my inner workings of like the message that I would put out into the world through those meetings. And man, I don't know about you, but I suck at taking the time to actually do that proactively in public, right? Like through written posts and through things like that. And so it's extracting those things from the meetings, from the transcripts, putting them into content packs, and taking those content packs and then restructuring them as a social post. And then I have an AI assistant named Brandy via Telegram that sends me a message saying, "Hey, Zach, you have a new post ready. Do you want to do something with it?" And so that's what I have set up right now. And my initial response off of posting about this on Facebook told me that other people seem to like the idea of having this as well. So if you happen to also be interested and happen to be watching this, feel free to drop a comment and let me know that you're interested in what I'm describing here. But that's what I got. And so what I want to do that sets the stage of what the process looks like. That sets the stage. what I want to do is how do I go about thinking through how do I deliver on what I put together in a way that feels quick and as quick and easy for me to create as possible, so that I get, so I accomplish a couple of things with the mid-ticket offer. One, I want another source of revenue, right? I want a way that I can make money off of this. Okay, so I want to put an offer out that I can make money off of. Okay, so I want to accomplish that. That's one of the requirements. Two, I only want to build the thing if there is enough demand for it to justify me putting the time that will be required to turn it into something to give to other people, right? I built it for myself, and it will take at least some level of work to turn it into something for other people. I want the process of turning it into something for other people to feel as easy and effortless as possible. And so typically for me, that means whatever I can do to do it live or do it in a meeting really helps me, right? So being able to do that. And then what else? But I need enough clarity of what I'm going to deliver that I could meaningfully put together an offer that sort of sells people, hey, here's what the plan is, and then I just need to execute on it. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That does.
Talk me through some of your thoughts on that, and help me think through. You kind of know how I set things up. Walk me through how you would think about potentially delivering that, knowing what you know about me and this process.
Yeah. What am I thinking? Can I tell you the first thing that I think is one of our biggest bottlenecks? Because I was listening to Zach Hanson's stuff again today, and his purpose of the mid-ticket offer is to be able to launch live experiences, because those are higher value.
Right.
Basically, in a way, you're almost getting people to pay for demo calls. Almost is what it is.
Right.
Right. But they're also getting, they're getting the product and they're getting live Q&A. So they're able to pay for your time in a group situation. But I was listening today. He said the goal is there's not going to be one perfect offer. The goal is to be able to launch multiple offers,
right? And
get good at offers. And I've been in his mastermind now for a while. And one of the things that I've seen is when people are launching their offers, during that launch window, they're he's always tweaking. Always tweaking. The other big thing that I've seen from him is that, always the best results are from your current list. Right.
Right.
And so with all of that, but my dream come true scenario is if we get to a place where we were able to launch one thing and ask people what other questions they have and make that the next thing.
Right.
But in lieu of that, I think for you, we know what we want to launch. We expect that Brandy's going to be big. Starting with the end in mind. Do you want to, I guess the question is, how long do you want the mid-ticket offer to be? Do you want it to be, a 2-hour training, a 4-hour training, 2 4-hour training? What do you want your newsletter, what do you want your people to get at the end of the Brandy training?
Just a second. Let me see. All system audio, microphone enabled. Just a second. I'm trying to figure out how I can get us quicker transcripts off of this. Give me just a second.
I got you.
For headphones. Okay, I think I've at least got a way where I could like record things and get transcripts and whatnot. Anyway, okay, so here's the way that I think about this. I have a really hard time starting with the end package. What I start with is thinking first and foremost about what is the problem and solution that I'm looking to solve, and then I reverse engineer, if I'm going to solve that, what is the path to do it? Does that make sense? Yeah. And so, and then from there's a little bit of an iteration, kind of like we did with your mid-ticket offers, where we started thinking about, like, I just already know the overall problem solution of what you did, or like what you do, right?
Yeah.
And so I start down the path of problem solution. Then I start thinking through, okay, well, what would it take to solve this? And then in laying out that path, then I start to be able to envision, okay, well, I could do that in this way. I could do this in this way. And either I can envision that this could be delivered in a 2-4 hour workshop. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so
yeah.
So the pain and the solution, is that right?
Yeah. And so let me think through it that way. So in this case, the pain is well, really it's who is this for? So let's think about that. So this mid-ticket offer is for the people that are already meeting, already talking to people. They're already doing work. They're working with clients. They're having meetings with their team. They're having like it doesn't necessarily have to be clients. It could be a real estate agent that's got a team, and they do team meetings, or they do consulting, like coaching calls with their own team, right? That kind of thing could work for this as well. This sort of idea also applies to people who are recording a podcast. If you set up your technology right and you do it in the right places, you can actually get the same result from that. Really, so it's anybody that part of their workflow is, say, at least 1 hour of meetings where they are talking, and through those meetings, like their point of view, their perspective, their solution that they want to put out in the world is coming through that. Okay, so that's the person, and the problem that they're encountering is that it's easy for them to have those meetings, it's easy for them to have those conversations, but it's hard to sit down and take the time to turn, to sit and come up with social posts, to sit and put yourself in the framework of, like, I'm going to write now and put out ways to promote what I'm doing. And it's a lot easier to just focus on serving and doing the work. And the whole outcome of this is to make the process easy, right? So like to make the process feel easier, so that instead of having to sit down and put yourself into the, okay, now what do I write? It's like what to write is already covered, and you're just either posting it, that sort of thing. Yeah, so that's kind of the problem solution. So now let me think through, how would I solve that problem? Okay, and here are the steps. So first off, you have to figure out how to make sure that you're recording everything. And the easiest options are going to be online meetings that you're already doing. Okay, so if you're meeting in Zoom, if you're meeting in Google Meet, this is taken care of pretty easily. If you're not meeting in other places, this is taken care of pretty easily. Crisp, Fathom, and Fireflies all do the thing that's necessary, which is automatically record those and then give you a mechanism to be able to automate something off of, I have a new meeting, I have a new recording. Okay. Of those options, Fathom and Fireflies, I've ran into problems with not run into problems. You have to pay in Fathom to get the Zapier automation. In Fireflies, you don't have to pay to get the automation portions. You could fire it with webhooks, and that works. But Fireflies requires a little bit more maintenance because they also record audio, and your audios fill up quick. So really, if you're going to use Fireflies, you need to pay for it as well. Out of all the options, I already pay for Crisp. It already does what I need to, so I'm typically relying on Crisp. Okay.
Yeah.
But the first step is record all your meetings. Okay. And then automate when I meet. That recording can be fired off somewhere else. So automate your recordings, or automate your transcription more specifically, which requires the recording plus the transcript, and then that being able to fire off into another tool. Okay. So now we have our transcript being fired off into another tool. I do that in a specific way with Crisp. I have to, honestly, what I do is I automatically create a Google Drive document so that I could then fire other automations, because I don't want to use Zapier. So I'm trying to minimize the amount that I'm using Zapier. I can't fire off the first part in N8N because of how these tools are set up. And so I'm using Zapier to get me into a tool that I can use N8N with.
And just for me, do a lot of these tools, do you not use Make because more of them just work with Zapier by default, and it's the same thing? You don't really want to pay for it.
Yeah. So most often, so I'm not using Make because N8N does everything that I need it to, and doesn't cost me the more that I use it, right? Not to the same degree. So and I can do things in N8N that I can't even do in Make. So it's like from the ground up, I'm building in a tool that is drastically more capable regardless. Does that make sense? So like I get a couple of benefits with N8N. I could scale without equivalently scaling my costs. Make and Zapier, the more I scale my tasks, the more my costs scale as well. And then the other one is literally out of all the tools, Zapier, Make, or N8N. N8N gets out of the way more often for me than the other tools do. The other tools, I have to kind of make myself think like that tool. In N8N, I'm able to just achieve what I want to without having to like force myself into their UI. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's a combination of things. But yeah, out of all the options, if I wasn't going to use N8N, I would probably try and get things into Make as quickly as possible, because it's like between the two, Make is a better option than Zapier, at least in my opinion, in terms of adaptability and how you can work with APIs and stuff. It's a lot more robust than Zapier is, and a lot cheaper too, for what you get from it. Okay, so for overall steps though, we got automate your transcription, trigger your transcription into some sort of automation platform. We've got to trigger an automation there. Then what we do is once we have a new transcription, then our next step is to run it through a processing layer to extract the concept packs. Okay, and the concept packs are what it's going to do is instead of having to have every one of your social posts based off the entire transcript, it's going to look through the transcript, come up with a key concept, and then extract out the portions of the transcript that are you talking about that idea. Reason why that helps is that it saves on cost, so that you're not, every time you're running it, you're not having to process the entire batch of tokens in order to build your post, and it's not needed. It's like a needless waste. It's tokens that don't really add to the process. So we extract those, And then for all of these, it's like, so it splinters there, right? So you got one transcript comes through and then splinters out into the separate concept packs. Those concept packs then become your social posts, and it can splinter there as well, where you can have I tend to start with what I call like a baseline social post, something that it's like a longer form social post. It's something written in the style of somebody like Justin Welsh or Dan Coe, where it's still succinct, but it's long form succinct, if that makes sense. It's not quite an article, but it's conveying the whole thought in kind of a specific way. Anyway, so you have that, and then you could also splinter those off into derivative types. I'm currently not doing that with what I'm doing with Brandy. I'm just getting my initial post, and that's been plenty at the moment. But you can splinter it out further and have more options where it's like a short form contrarian post, or you apply it to different templates. So
Right.
so the end result, what else do you need to have? So you need to have the tool to extract the concept packs. You need to have the system to automatically generate the social post, and then you need to have your assistant who's actually notifying you of this. And I use Telegram for that because you could set these up for free in order to have an automation, and like lots of people, you could also do this with Slack, but Slack, in order to gain access to all the features, you have to pay for. I'd rather just build off of a tool that I can 100% build off of for free, because there's no real benefit to me of doing it in Slack, right?
Right.
Anyway, but for people that are actively using Slack and paying for it anyway, all of this stuff could be done through a Slack bot too. And so really for me, that portion of the bot, or the branding assistant, is to notify me of that post. And then over time, I could actually build it out where I can, I don't have it set to do this, but I could actually say, yeah, that post is good, and then get it posted out, right? So I could build out the feature set over time. But right now, just getting the posts into my hands is kind of what I have set up. Let me pull this up real quick, and I'm going to share my screen. So your screen, share. There it is. Okay, so all right, and then I have this one that's providing data into Brandy. So on this one, I would need to cover the process for setting. Well, yeah, I don't know what all I need to flow people through exactly, but in order to deploy on what I have here, just listing out the things that somebody would have to do, you have to have your OpenAI API. You have to have, for what I have here, you have to have OpenAI API. You have to have innate-in. You have to set up a Telegram bot, which has a specific process. That's at least minorly complicated. Meeting transcript, atomic idea extractor, transcript parser. Okay, so for this one, you also need to have your Anthropic API key for this. For this one, Anthropic for this. I'm also building off of Google Drive. So we would need to get the Google API set up in Innate-In, or if I'm using Make, that is one of the nice things about Make compared to Innate-In. Getting these things set up is easier in Make than it is in Innate-In.
Right.
But because like they have the thing set up so that like you can click to connect it, and you don't have to go through and like set up a custom app and stuff. But so there's some nice parts there. But yeah, okay. So and then what is this one doing? Yeah, so this is extracting out kind of all the concepts from the initial thing. And so we have our trigger here, meeting transcript. Search for that. Okay, so here's our flows. So we have a meeting meeting transcript folder watcher. That's what triggers off everything else. So this is our main trigger that's creating everything. So that's this one. And then we have our atomic content idea extractor. So this one's going to look at the transcript, extract the atomic content content idea. Then what is this one? Okay, and then this one is gonna what this one does is it's exclusively looking at extracting the content ideas, and then it's gonna split them out as separate content ideas. Then this one takes those separate content ideas and the transcript, and then it says, here's the idea, find all the parts of the transcript that pair together with this idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it does that, and then it pairs them together, and it creates a new file that's an atomic content idea thing, the content pack. So it creates that, and then atomic content idea extractor pairer. Then we're gonna assemble the. So this one's the transcript folder monitor that keys off everything. This one's the concept packs monitor. So like it flows like this. So this one triggers to this one, which creates a content concept pack. Actually, this one might go into there. So yeah, that triggers into that, and then symbol concept pack, pair concept concepts with transcript portions. Okay, that's kind of a brain automation there. Atomic. Okay, and then concept packs monitor. What does this one trigger into? Create post from atomic concept. Okay, so create post. Create social post from content packs. Yeah, so this one's going to create the post. What does this one do? This one's going to give it a title, pretty simply. That way, when I name it, I have a relevant title to name it, and not just the post, to have a name for the file. Then it's going to create the file, and then it's going to give me the fields again, including like the file link, and then that one's going to trigger off into Brandy here. It's going to trigger off into this one. This is an assistant agent. This is Jane Ansible. Jane is Brandy's assistant. So Jane takes in the information and then provides it to Brandy to provide to me. I figured out that I needed to add in Jane so that she could clearly tell Brandy what to do with the information, so that I didn't have to, right? And then Brandy's then able to send me a message.
So what does Jane tell her to do? How does she figure that out?
So here, I'll show you. So your Jane Ansible, an assistant system that processes incoming marketing messages and campaign information for Brandy. Your role is to format and provide context for updates that Brandy will then communicate to Zach. Process incoming data, and then I give it the instructions, and then she's outputting it as JSON, so that I can have that come in for Brandy. Really, Jane is like a layer so that I don't have to think about what I'm doing. Like, how to describe this? Jane was a layer that was necessary so that I could present instructions to Brandy automatically, rather than just having context trigger her and have her need to figure out what to do with it, right? This is here's the information, so when this information happens, you do this with it. I don't know, does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's what that's doing. Because otherwise Brandy also could be triggered with Telegram. I could talk to Brandy, right, separately from this information being handed to her. So it's this is like somebody sends her a message and then she knows how to communicate with me, but I could also communicate with Brandy directly, about other things. And so as I build out Brandy, I could start giving her more tools to be able to post on my behalf and stuff like that. So that's why it's set up like this. Okay, but in terms of setting this all up, what did we find? So we have Telegram, we have OpenAI, we have Claude, we have Google Drive. Yeah, Google Drive. Yeah, and then we have all these different parts of the process, and the end result. The end result is that we have an automatic assistant that's watching our meetings, providing us back social posts in a way that the posts are good, and we set it up once and we don't have to keep thinking about it a ton. So that's what the thing is. What do you think my best, easiest way to deliver it would look like? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think, this is what occurred to me, and I don't know, I expect it's going to be shut down, but this is what occurred. As you were doing that, I was thinking back to when lead pages first came out.
Right.
And, I hopped on a webinar and they said, here's the problem, here's the solution, and how I solve it.
Right.
And they used their system
right
to make it really simple.
Right.
And I thought about how Russell Brunson does with what's his system? Software.
Well, Russell Brunson is lead pages. That is.
Oh, that's lead pages. I was thinking of the other one.
Oh wait, no. No, you're right. Yeah, why am I forgetting the name? The funnel hacker.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels. There we go. I knew there was funnel in the name, and I remembered it started with a C, but my brain went to ConvertTree, but that's a completely different project or product. Anyway, ClickFunnels. Yes.
Yeah, and so Russell Brunson, he walks through, hey, here's the problem, and here's how to solve it, and he's literally making it just dead simple. It's almost like, have you ever seen the Donald Hoffman video that what we see is more like a display?
Right. No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've shared it. I've watched it a bunch of times. But his idea is that what we see as reality,
right,
is really just to make things simple, kind of like icons on a desktop. Like when you see the icon and drag it to the trash, that's not really what's happening, but it just makes it so much simpler.
Right.
And what Russell did with ClickFunnels, what Clay did with Lead Pages, it was the same thing. Like they hid all the complexity. And so as I was thinking, like, man, like, what if we can, what if we can just build out where like this is really simple and done for them, and like, what if you show them, hey, look, here's the problem, here's how I solve it, and you actually just kind of walk through your system.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd be game for that. Do you think? So like here's my fear in this process, or my concern.
Yeah.
I realize that everything that I just showed, I don't have confidence that somebody else could take action on, like, even if I explained it step by step. Like, I know looking at that, I'm like, you're a smart guy, and it might be hard for you to replicate what I just showed you, even if I'm walking you through it step by step.
Yeah. I mean, I could do it,
right,
probably, if I had time, right? And I'm one of the nerdiest people that can still talk English, right? Or like talk human,
right?
So yeah, it is. Like, I mean, and what I think too, our ideal clients don't want to watch that. Our ideal clients could care less. All our ideal clients want is, how simple can I get the result? Because that's really what you are. You're a simplifier.
Right.
How do you get the result quick? And I mean, I think it'd be cool. We've got these get shipped done things. With me and you and AI. I think we could probably even program a front end together live, on this, and so that then the mid-ticket offer is, hey, here's how to solve this, and it's using your system.
Yeah, I mean, part of what would be nice for me, this is something that I haven't been able to do yet, or know how to do yet, but ideally, I like building an N8N because I can prototype really well. But the one thing that makes it hard for me to deploy on it in like an offer sort of form is, you're right. Most of the people who want the solutions that I'm building, they're not going to want to build an N8N. Like, some of them are, and some of them are going to be able to, but most of them aren't. Most people, the widest part of the market, will not.
And I would say your ideal clients.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing, because the purpose of this is to get your ideal clients, and the errands, the people that are busy doing stuff, they're going to want no part of it.
Right. Yeah, and so what I can see, what I could see happening is, I could see a showing somebody the product, and then having a, hey, if you want us to set this up for you, here's what that looks like. One of the things that I run into, I the ideal outcome for me, if I could wave a magic wand, I would like to be able to set up something that I can host most of, I can host the logic and the agents and all of that, and I build out that end, not because I need to obscure it, but more because I don't need to confuse people with it. The key thing that I'm lacking is I don't know right now with what I built out, how I make it so that people put in their own OpenAI API key or Claude API key. And I personally don't like the model of charging people for tokens. Like, I don't know why I'm resistant to it. And like, I probably shouldn't be, but like, I just don't like it. I like the idea of what you're paying me for is this system that I built. And I want you to be able to get everything else at cost, right? Like the AI model, like us changing in and out AI models. Like I want somebody, I think like that's at least what would feel most good to me is that some where it's like, hey, we just made an update that's going to save you 10 times the cost because the model's just updated and we updated our model. So your API key, you don't even change anything. Your costs are just going to go down for the same thing that you were getting, right? Like I don't know. That just feels better to me. But the thing I don't want to do is I don't want to take on having to manage figuring out how much this person's using versus this person in order to do the whole thing myself, right? So I want them to use their API key. I don't need to make money off of tokens. I'm fine with making money off of people getting the help and being part of the community and be like where I'm actually bringing value, right? So those are some of the thoughts that come up. I don't know how to do that, and I haven't gone down the path of learning how to do that. Is that something that you feel like from what you just saw with this, that you have an idea or a vision of how we could take the processes that I figured out and build them out in a way where somebody else can, put in their API key and get that end essentially the what does that end up looking like? It likely looks like maybe Telegram becomes the interface for that. But like I need in terms of storing the like where they store and update the API key. But anyway.
So yeah, I think so. I've got this vision. So I think I've shared with you. My vision is to be able to find people that have really cool ideas and help publish them. Really,
Right.
And this is kind of that. I'm a good programmer. Like I can imagine how this can be programmed so that there's a beautiful front end. I think we could probably use my join takeoff training to like me and you. I think we could use AI to build out the whole program so that people have a nice front end. It can, handle payments. It can, and I think there could probably be two options. Like if I was going to do it, one option would be, have you seen Frank Kern's AI writer?
I haven't, not specifically.
I joined his school community. He's such a great marketer.
Yeah.
I enjoy when he sells me stuff. It's so fun.
Right.
And and he's doing the same thing we just talked about. He's like, here's how you create your content. And he's like, I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. And it's his AI writing tools. And I think the way, let me see how much it is. Let's see. He's so funny. High on cough syrup and myths about drinking. Is this even legal? So great.
I love Frank Kern.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it.
So while you're looking, well, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, all I was gonna say, this has been part of my concern about doing it this way, and like why I haven't pursued this path, because this, like, it's also the thing. I mean, keep in mind, like, I know at this point that if I wanted to build a front end for this, I could learn it as well. Like that. I've seen that. It wouldn't be quick. It would be a new skill. It would be interesting to me. But part of what I'm looking to overcome for myself is trying to figure out kind of the other aspect of the mid-ticket offer that I really like is how can I get paid to do like what I would do and would be easy anyway? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like I can very clearly envision how the software development portion of this is valuable. Like and why somebody would pay for it. Like that portion I get why what I have now is valuable, but why there's a UI disconnect that makes it hard for people, so like makes it less valuable because there's more obstacles in the way. Going to the the value equation. And what I'd ideally like to do is figure out, how can I get to the point where every month I have a new thing to launch that is basically built off of the cool stuff that I'm building for myself anyway, right? Does that make sense? And so, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think Brandy's awesome enough that you can have it can be the center hub, and you can do a lot of stuff around it. I might be wrong, but I mean, it's a real product. It can be a real product, and
right.
With my thought is, I don't think you'd really need to learn that. I mean, I've been building referrals while you sleep specifically with user interfaces and stuff for 5 years.
Right.
And I think with AI, I think we can build something together really functional. And, I want to practice building in public.
Right.
And, because you're really great at N8N and all that, but I'm good at building real tools, so to speak. It's actually been pretty interesting because we've taken the N8N type stuff and, I've ran into issues with it and how to convert it to a real program that you sell to other people,
Right.
And so that's my thought. It could be fun. My thought is I'd be open to try it for a couple weeks. And the other thing, I really think that we could probably build it out in a couple weeks, and that's your mid-ticket launch. We just build it in public here,
right.
And and then the other thing, the way that Frank sells his AI tool is he says it's free for 7 days, and then it's $39 a month. You can cancel anytime. They ask, are there any other costs? He said probably not, but it's possible. You get 1 million points every month. So far, 88% of our users don't need to buy extra points. If you do need to buy extra points, you can just buy them in little one-time batches for $5. And I like, it's kind of what our friend Costas did with Agent Legend. I mean, they had the same thing with text. They had per text pricing. They say, hey, it's unlimited. And this solves it for 92% of people. If you're a power user, you can buy extra.
Right.
Because if we have to get them to get their own token, either they got to pay us to do it for them, or it ain't gonna. And
right.
If you've got a power user,
so,
you can
and probably for most people. And maybe we do that. Maybe we could solve both. Is we could say this cost includes this many tokens. If you fill in, if you know how to find and fill in your API key, you can operate off of your own limits, and make it so that we're just able to that feels like that would be simple enough. Where it's hey, this
I don't
cost
think
we're
that's needed, but we could. Like your ideal clients aren't going to want to do that.
Well, but I mean, keep in mind, my ideal clients. So like, the mid-ticket offer is an interesting thing in that it isn't just for the ideal clients, right? Like it's also for the people that will never become the ideal clients, but we still want to be able to generate revenue off of them in the interim, right? If there's an easy enough bridge, right? Like, because like, let's be honest, my ideal clients don't even need the mid-ticket offers; they just hire me, right? Like,
right.
And so we're like doing the mid-ticket offers is like a bridge as well, right? So it's
right.
So yeah, so like my thinking is, it's kind of the, for the person that, because there like in the space, there are a lot of these tools now that offer the ability to use your own API key, and that's not so out of the norm that there aren't people who'd be expecting it. Does that make sense? Or at least wanting it.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be easy enough to do. But I think you're right. I think it's not. I don't think it's like it's not part of a minimum viable product, if that makes sense. It's potentially a feature to add at some point. Yeah. That makes sense.
Simple enough. So what I'm excited about this is, this is literally my wheelhouse, having a front end to connect APIs. And
right.
I steal a lot of your ideas anyway that I use with referrals while you sleep. Basically, you're my AI czar. I'm trying to figure out how can I just pay you for each of my clients so that we integrate even more deeply,
Right.
That's it. So that, man, how cool would it be if you could just, the mid-ticket offer is, hey, this is what you do. You set up Chris for Zoom, you connect it here, you get, after a call, you get a notification, you go here and check which post you want to post. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we could. I think we could set it up. Like we could even set it up where literally everything that I'm doing still operates the same way, where we have like the interface is Telegram, right? Like it's here, go here, go to Telegram. Here's the message that you do to trigger getting started. We integrate some sort of logic with Telegram. That's honestly that could be what we do. We could build it out as a Telegram bot where there's a database check if they're actively paying. Go ahead.
Can I suggest we don't?
Why is that?
I feel like our best, your best clients, people, it's still too techy. Can we just make this as simple as ClickFunnels? That's how you're going to make the most money.
My point though, so do you understand do you understand where Telegram's coming into place on this? Do you get why I'm using Telegram for it?
I think it's because it's kind of like Slack in that it's a chat system that has an open API so that you can build it yourself to connect with different things, handle inputs. So it's like a simple chat user interface that can let you connect everything.
Well, and very specifically, whether it's Telegram or something else, the key thing that matters is at least for me, this is why I built in Telegram and what I needed. I needed something that felt like the equivalent of a person reaching out to me at the right time to say, your thing is ready. Do you want to take action on it? Right? And that is not handled through a web interface. For some people, it might be handled like that. that experience is either chat or email or a phone call. And out of all of those, email I feel like is very likely to get lost. Phone call is just as likely to be missed or not acted upon. And so you're looking at some sort of chat or message. And then for that, we're either left with text messages, which increase the cost without much benefit, or we're looking at something like Slack or Messenger or WhatsApp or Telegram. And so really it's more a question of what it potentially looks like. If it's going to be anything, it's probably Slack as kind of the default that people are used to. But I think, does that make sense?
I guess. I guess you could always, email your list and say, hey, do you use Telegram often? Because like for me, right, I've got all these Telegrams, and like I'm pretty techy, and like I don't get I don't have notifications turned on for any of them, and like I never use it. Which I may be the edge case, but I think that it makes sense why you use Telegram. Same reason you use N8N. Like it lets you pull it together. I think with my programming and I think we could probably come up with something that more non-techie people could use. I think. Well,
I mean, and that's fine, but no, you might be missing part of what I'm saying here. I'm fine with it not being Telegram, but I think it still ends up being here's the thing. It all the end result, ideally, for you having an assistant that you work with, is that it integrates into the channels or channel that you already use, right? Like that would be the ideal. So we're looking at something that it's not a web interface, it's not an application in terms of how the person interacts with it. It needs to be either something like they interact with it on Facebook Messenger, or they interact with it on WhatsApp, or they interact with it
or text message.
Yeah. And I think the reality is like I know you and we use WhatsApp. And I know a lot of the world uses WhatsApp, but most everybody that I know in the business space does not use WhatsApp. And so even that one is kind of in the vein of it's already a tool that's out of the norm. So like that's part of what I'm like the only one that I could think of in the business space, people are really used to Slack. So Slack might be the interface that would work the best for this.
I feel like text or email.
Yeah. And so, I mean, email's easy, right? So email's an easy option. In terms of like costs and whatnot. And then text works well. I mean, it's interesting. Text just adds to the cost and complexity of setting it up, because in order to set up the text stuff, you have to go through something like Twilio, getting a custom number set up, getting and the requirements around that are drastically more at this point.
So terrible. I hope A2P gets removed. It's one of the biggest hurdles and costs to small businesses I've seen in so long. The whole A2P to get phone numbers is crazy. But,
right. Yeah. I literally have had people hire me to help them walk through the process of getting approved.
It's horrendous.
And it's not a good system. But But I don't know how to describe this. I'm in alignment with you in alignment with you in principle. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
Because I hear what you're saying. The ideal outcome is somebody's using something that doesn't feel like they have to become a hacker in order to do it. Like their perspective is like this works in the thing that I already use, that I'm already used to. I don't know if for most people, is email good enough for most people? Because for me, email sucks. I hate email.
I feel like having email and text both, but I feel like text. I mean, like if we could wave a magic wand, right. I think the two options would be either a push notification on their phone or text message, right?
Right.
Can you set up push notifications from a website on a phone?
Technically you can. You would need to set. I think you set it up as a progressive web app. Yeah. And that gives you the ability, but it's again you're entering into a zone with a progressive web app where like people are less used to it. Because like you don't go to the app store to install it. What you do is you click the share button and you click add to home screen, and effectively it's a bookmark, but it's a bookmark that has like a layer where it's caching the stuff locally, and so you like you get like I mean here let's look it up. Just a second. We'll do this live because this is how I'd think about this. What can be done with a progressive web app compared to a native app? Explain the pros, cons of each. Make sure to also consider Apple versus Android in the process. Let's see how Perplexity does. I might take this into Grok and have it do deeper research. Oh, this one used Pro to consider it, so that's cool. Or it's doing a deeper thing. So it actually.
Do you have Perplexity Pro?
I don't pay for it, so it whatever it's doing, it's either giving me a demo or it's within the free level of whatever I have. Progressive web apps and native apps offer different capabilities. Okay. Progressive web apps run on any platform through a web browser, can be added to the home screen for easy access, work offline or with poor network connections, receive push notifications except on iOS, it says. So let's double check that. Make push notifications work. And actually here. Is there a way to make push notifications work for iOS? Sure, install push service SDK from a provider like OneSignal or Push Alert. Configure your service worker to handle push notifications. Set up a custom permission prompt to ask users for notification. Configure your web app manifest specifically for iOS to enable push notifications. Request notification permission in response to an explicit user action such as button click. Users have installed your PWA targeting iOS 16.4 or later. It's important to note that there are some limitations For example, they don't support sound or vibration, and tapping the notification may not open the PWA directly. Interesting. Why not? Oh, okay. So this is... You need to be careful. Yeah, so I mean, it seems like to iOS with Nuxt and FCM. Push notification. Oh yeah, so I mean, it sounds like it is possible. So that part was wrong. Access some device features like GPS and camera. Okay, so right now I don't think we need that, and I don't think this is completely true because I think there's web ways to access the camera too. So I think even this can be handled, and this may not be able to be handled for sake of like real-time monitoring, but if you needed the location, like if you pulled it up, I think you could probably still trigger something.
Yeah.
Faster, cheaper to develop with a single code base. Install updates without App Store approval. No installation required. Saving device storage. Discoverable through search engines. Can be shared via URL. Limited access to device hardware and feature. Less powerful performance compared to native apps. Not available in app stores except Google Play Store. Oh, so Google Play Store, you can actually get into the App Store even with a progressive web app, apparently. Limited offline capabilities and complete browser support specifically for older versions. Okay. Spare, deeper, full offline functionality. Longer development, require manual updates, take up more device storage, better support functionality. Android allows more flexibility.
Founders don't notice it.
What's up?
Cassie just showed me a text message. She got a text message from someone that said, "Hey, your friend Jesse just told us XYZ, but it auto-corrected to Jesus, your friend Jesus." And so Cassie's response was, "Well, praise the Lord."
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a progressive web app would potentially do what we would need to. So that could work. Looks like it might be a little bit difficult to get it set up, but yeah, I mean, like thinking.
But I mean, I would think just email. I mean, what's easier, getting them to install and use Telegram, or testing for an MVP email or text messages? Email would probably be good for an MVP, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think that would be harder than Telegram?
Harder than, well, I mean, I don't know. I like that it's really going to be ultimately a market question to know for sure. Because like right now, if you said, "Hey, I've got this assistant, it's going to email you these things," I'd be like, "Cool, that's useless to me." Because like I'm rarely going to check them. Like, a text message would work. WhatsApp, Messenger, Slack, literally any of those would feel more doable for me.
You know, I mean,
go ahead.
If we use, I was looking here, I've been doing a lot with the high level API. We could use, you can send text message, Instagram, Facebook messages, I think WhatsApp. You can send a lot of different messages just from that API.
Right.
We just wanted text. You could just work directly with Twilio.
Right.
Or whoever you want to use now.
Right.
Of course, you do have to jump through the H2P, which is like slicing your throat. But
I mean, it's one of those things, and maybe this is like, I don't know. I could see this. I could see this as being a fun thing where, like, I mean, coming into this whole like starting this get shipped done thing, part of the process of this was was essentially the idea that like I know I need a partner in order to get some of this stuff done anyway. And you feel the same way on aspects of what you need to do too. Like, I don't know. I'm completely game to saying like, what does it look like for us to literally develop something like this together and have it as a thing? This will be helpful not only for you personally, but it'll be helpful. It relates to what you do with referrals while you sleep, so it's still within that same market. It's just a different tool or a different concept. And so why do I say that? Well, I say that because I think that things like A2P don't hit me the same way they hit you, right? Like they bother me, but you don't recoil in horror. I'm like a dog that just can't let go. It's like, I'm gonna fucking get through this thing. But yeah. So that might be part of how we can make that work. Because I think, well, realistically, what do our costs look like on that? Like, what is the per text message cost on Twilio right now?
It's
let me look it up.
Pretty low.
All right. As of March 2025, the cost per text message starts at 0.0079 to send or receive a message. However, this price varies on several factors. Volume discounts, the more you send, the less you pay. Message type, SMS and MMS have different pricing structures. Carrier fees, these are additional costs charged by mobile carriers. SMS, for outgoing SMS, approximately half a cent per message. 160 characters. Incoming SMS slightly lower than outgoing. For MMS 0.02, so 2 cents per message. Incoming lower cost than outgoing. Carrier fees added to these costs. Average carrier fee for outgoing SMS is 0.002 per message. So we're looking at we're looking at
a penny per message. You know what it is?
Yeah, I'd say about on average about a penny per message. So thinking through the math of potentially an average use case per user if you've got one well, I don't know. What does the average person do in terms of meetings per day? What if you had to throw out a guess?
I mean, I think if you imagined one a day, I think that would be a
meeting a day.
Yeah. Because there's gonna be weekends. There's gonna be some days that they don't. So I think if you just assumed 30 a month,
okay,
that's probably a pretty good assumption.
And 30 like hour-long meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I've found is that I'm getting anywhere from 6 to 7 posts per hour-long meeting. It kind of varies, but so just on the messages to say you have a new thing, right? So like not really doing anything smart, just you have a thing. 30 times 7, so that's 210. So penny per, that just for those, assuming that's about $2.
$2.10.
$2.10 per user per month.
Yeah.
And what? So you mentioned. I mean, like this tool could very, very likely be more expensive than the $39 per month that you mentioned Frank Kern has his at.
Yeah, I mean it does a lot more.
Right. And we could keep developing it out to do more, right? Like it's like to start, it starts as your assistant, and we could start.
And there's different ways you could do it. You could do it where there's one text, that they click a link to see the dashboard, and they just approve all of them from the dashboard. So that takes your $2.10 down to 30 cents, right?
Oh, that's true. So like you could have meeting gets processed, and then meeting gets processed, and then your flow is, hey, this meeting's been processed. You got this many posts. Hop in to approve them. That could work, because really, I mean, that's the key. Is it's okay if it's not all happening in the message, like in the text message, but like the trigger, at least, to like go in and be working with it, needs to happen in something that people are already using. I think as long as that happens, where like it bounces you into a thing from what you're already used to, I think that's fine.
Because people are used to websites.
Yeah, and so like, even if like they get to the website, and in the website they have the option of like, we could build out like an AI agent in the website itself that they could chat with, or like maybe it's like a dual UI where you have like here's the library of things, but you also could like talk to the agent about what's going on in the library and have it do things on your behalf. Does that make sense? But yeah, so like thinking through it as like an assistant, I think that could work. What would you imagine the cost of this that like people would find reasonable would be?
So like the first version, I think I would just make it simple, in that it's processed. They get an email, their posts are ready. They can approve, they can reject, they can edit. Like that's it. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, I think people would pay. I mean, it depends how many meetings they have, right? But I mean, I think $100 a month, would be a killer deal. I mean, I think some people would pay more. I mean, I'm not good at marketing. I say, but I guess I'm getting better. I should stop saying that. I'm getting better and better. But yeah, I think, I mean, for some people, I mean, I guess, what I found with referrals while you sleep is kind of fascinating. I've got brand new real estate agents.
Right.
And it's really like not valuable at all to them. Referrals while you sleep. I mean, it is, but they don't see it. They got more time than money. They've got no idea the difference between leads versus compliant clients.
Right.
And then I've got agents that are always kind of looking for the next shiny object, like love leads. Very little. I mean, they don't see the value. But then I've got agents that like all that I want to do is stay in front of my sphere of influence. This is the best thing since sliced bread.
Right.
But now I'm actually talking to a new segment of people who are like recruiting agents, and they're like, this can help me make $1 million a year.
Right.
On auto. And so I think with this, it would be pretty similar,
Right. Yeah. I wonder if like, so like, yeah, there's a couple of things that we could do. So like, could we set this up in a way where mid-ticket offer wise, because like part of, to me, the power of a mid-ticket offer too is that it's a one-time purchase, right? Yeah. That there's a one-time, like there's a one-time thing that you're purchasing that like, I've paid for this thing, I get access to this thing, I get access to this time, and like the value exchange is simple.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we could deploy on this process where, somebody could end up with a tool or a process that they could just use that gets this end result, and that it's reasonable that they wouldn't have to keep paying to be able to get something like this. I don't know, like not necessarily the full thing, but like, you know, the key deliverable is I meet with people, I end the meeting, and automatically I get social posts based on what I talked about, right? Like that key deliverable. Right. I know what like the recurring portion of that looks like. I mean, the only thing that I could think of is giving them like a make automation or an innate in automation as like the, hey, if you want to just deploy on this on your own, that's what it would look like. But
yeah, you know, I think, you know, one of the things I've been thinking about, like with the mid-ticket offer for me, is, I don't know, it's a little bit different when you actually have a product. You know, when you've got a ClickFunnels, when you've got
right,
and you know, at that point, you can almost, yeah, what would be a good way? I don't know.
I mean, the other thing that I could see us deploying on is like, maybe the mid-ticket offer isn't how to automate it all. Maybe the mid-ticket offer is like, how do you turn meetings into social posts, right? And because like that, I could show somebody how to do.
I like that. Yeah,
that I could show somebody how to do just with the prompts. It's like, here's the chain of stuff that you do with Claude and OpenAI, and like, you could deploy on this process. Now, if you want to automate it, maybe that's part of what it becomes. Maybe this is the key, is that like maybe what we've been talking about for like what I'm doing with Brandy starts becoming part of, like, Brandy is just a tool that people get access to in Amp Intel Elite. And so part of what it is it's like, hey, this is the process for how you go through and do this. We've built out and we're automating all of this through Brandy so that we don't have to go through this process.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of what it becomes. It's like I see Amp Intel Elite as being kind of the cohort community of people that are building out good systems, maximizing their effectiveness, using AI to stay on the cutting edge, and a combination of it is I don't know, like, and it doesn't need to be that. Like, maybe it is its own tool that's kind of like something in between a like, it's technically something that people can pay for access to directly, but like, we're not really expecting that, if that makes sense. It's sort of like it's something in between a mid-ticket and a premium, where maybe occasionally we promote it to let people know, but it's like more often we're promoting like, well, the mid-ticket version is like, here's what you could do on your own, and then if you want to automate that, we've got Brandy, and hey, you can either buy access to Brandy, it costs this much per month if you want it like this, or you get access to Brandy, you know, for free, or
I like that. With, you know, I saw you know, what I would do though, like, I think the best way to do it would be to show how to do it with the Brandy interface. Like, that's the mid-ticket offer, is how to do it, and say, I'm going to include the prompts for you. Like, if you want to do this your own, here's the prompts you can use. And because I remember Carl White, he works with lenders. They did that with their with how to use AI in their CRM. The class was how to use AI to market to your database and grow your loan business. And the whole thing, they were actually showing how to do it within, you know, the CRM that we all use. And Like they showed the prompts and said, and this is how you set all of this up, and we'll help set this up for you, within our
Right.
system. And I like that because one, it sold their solution, but two,
Right.
if they actually like got into the nitty gritty of all the different ways to do it, like
Right.
people were lost just trying to follow the simple version. So I like that. Like, hey, we're going to show you. That's the way I'm thinking about doing that for me with referrals by sleep. Actually, this
Right.
is light bulbs.
Yeah, so I think that could be the ticket. So like the mid-ticket offer itself. So I see a couple of things coming out of this. One, I think the mid-ticket offer of like what I could deploy on is like, hey, I built out this automated system. It's really cool. I'm going to show you how it works, but I'm going to give you all the prompts so that you could do the process. Or like, and I don't know, maybe I don't even do that because I feel like that might be too confusing. But
How to turn I'd say how to turn the meetings that you already do into great social content.
yeah. So I do that. So I do that as the mid ticket. For that, I could literally just explain the manual process of taking a meeting transcript, what prompts you use to flow it through, and all of that. And essentially, I could say like, hey, I actually automate this. I don't know if I even want to offer to like, I don't know. Like I could say like,
So the parts that I see, one, you've got the plumbing.
right,
Like, I think that's a big part of it.
right,
You got the plumbing, and then like I think the whole mid ticket is how to set up the plumbing and answer the questions on whether it's Fathom or whatever. And then you walk through how to use our branding user interface.
right,
Like you show, here's how you do it, and then you say, now if you want the prompts here, you can go to you can go to our Google Drive and you can get all the prompts and do it yourself.
right,
Or if you're part of Intel Elite, you get Brandy.
right,
Because just showing them the plumbing, like that's the requirement no matter what. And then they've got access to the prompts, and I like thinking about it. That's the way I've seen like by referral only, Evan Pagan, like all the people. It's really what Frank shows with his Joy. He's like, hey, I'm going to show you how to use the tool to get it. And I think if you show the plumbing and how to get the results with the tool and give them the prompts in like a Google document, I feel like that's really, really valuable.
Yeah, and so again, going back to like what our goal is here, I see like if we want to launch something, like my goal would be that we launch something this month, right? Like we launch some sort of offer this month. Is it realistic for us to launch an offer this month where before the end of the month we can deliver on? We have Brandy set up that if you're part of AMP Intel Elite, you're getting access to this tool that automates this part of the process. Does that make sense?
I think so. So with our plans, we can channel our Elon Musk where we take what's impossible and maybe merely make it late. But I think so with the time that we've already set aside,
Right.
and we'll be building it together.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see, and what's cool about that, like you've got a much better idea on how to make things look pretty,
Right.
which is a total weakness of mine.
Right.
And so I would think so. And really, the building in public is part of the launch. You can update your newsletter list each week.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I think. If you so let's reverse engineer it in terms of what it needs to look like. So, the delivery on this process, I could show somebody, I believe, how to set these things up, how to think through them. I believe I'd be able to show that in a 2 to 4 hour workshop. I believe I'd be able to. That like I could walk through, here's the components, here's what you need, here's how we're pulling them together, what each step is doing. I think I'd be able to show that in that time frame. So I could deliver on the promise of the mid-ticket offer in that time frame. For sake of promotion, we need to have we ultimately need like a sequence where really, like, so for sake of promotion, we need the ability for somebody to buy, right? And what they're buying is a one-off thing, and the one-off thing is that we're showing the tool. We potentially have like an included, they're going to get some amount of access. Maybe it's the 7 days for free kind of thing, like you just said. And then if they want to continue, here's what it looks like. So we'd have that. I'd deploy on it in a way where we say like, hey, you could do this in any way that you want. With these prompts, you're able to build a system so that it does automatically, create these things for you. So we'd have that. In terms of promotion, the minimum viable promotion for me is typically at least a 3 email sequence, but there's a 7 email sequence that I do like, that's easy to generate as well. I think as long as we have clarity, I mean that's the key. That's the one aspect of this that I don't like. I don't like that we have to build a thing before we sell it in this case. Because if I'm going to deliver on the promise of the workshop and we're tying it to launching the software tool, in order to be confident in that, like, I really do. I need to reasonably feel like I have it in my control to make sure that we get it delivered in a reasonable amount of time. And I don't know that. I don't have that confidence. I do have that confidence in I can take what I have right now and walk people through a manual process, right? I have confidence that I know how to do that. Yeah, so let's think about that. What could we do? What could we do so that we're not building out the tool before getting paid to do it? What could we do? Like, so maybe what we do is we do a mid-ticket launch. That's the manual process, and say, hey, we're thinking about building out this tool. Like, maybe we get people to prepay for that and say our planned launch date. And I don't know. Help me think through that. Like, do you get my thought or concern on that?
Yeah. So my thought is, so the promise we're making is how to get your content, how to take your meetings and turn into content, right? Like, we can already do that.
Right.
So like
that offer I can make right now. Like, that offer I have.
And so I think we never even talk about the user interface. We just build towards that. And if we can use that during the mid-ticket, cool. If we can't, we can say, by the way, we're working on this cool project that'll make it a whole lot easier. If you're interested, sign up for the wait list.
Well, and that's fine. So I guess here's my concern, because ideally I see this time. I always want to be able, if I can, to run in cycles of this time that we're working is either creating the marketing assets to sell or getting clarity on the thing that we're going to create. But I essentially I think I need it to be that I only ever expect that I'm going to deliver on what people pay for after, right? Like that I get enough clarity to see if they're willing to pay, and then I have to set it so that people are paying to see it live. Does that make sense?
So you want to get paid before you build it. I guess my thought is, like, we need to, like, all of everything that we're building is actually leading to marketing the mid-ticket offer. Like, and like whether someone else pays or not, like, this is something that's going to be really useful.
Right.
You know, I mean, like, if at the end of the day it's built and no one uses it, but maybe like me and you, and the people in Amp Intel Elite, would it be worth it?
I mean, right now, no. Not in terms of order of operations. No. I need to be getting to the point where I'm getting paid to do the things that I'm getting billed. I don't have enough revenue coming in to not build that way. Does that make sense? There will come a point where yes, there's, like, in terms of the principle of what you're saying, there is practically value there. That yes, it's building a thing that can be sold, that has value. But like right now, I need to build a thing that I need to make an offer, get paid, build the thing that I got paid to build. Does that make sense? And I need to be able to deliver it live, just knowing my personality, right? So I need to be able to do that building in public. Yeah, so I think what would that look like? What would that look like? Is it
I mean,
because
I've got to leave in a minute because I've got an appointment in 5 minutes. I guess my thought is building in public is marketing, is leading towards the marketing of the mid-ticket offer. Like, it is selling the mid-ticket offer. We're going to build, I don't know. How do you? That's a good question. I'm not sure.
And I think it can be. So like that's what I'd say. Building in public over time, it can definitely move to that. But like ultimately, we have to see. Like right now, this stream alone, we don't know yet if it's going to create enough demand or interest, if enough people are following it, that sort of thing. And so we can't operate as if it is doing the work of marketing. We know that it can. There's definitely reasonable expectation that like it could be all that we need to do, or it could be the main impetus. But like there might be an in between of saying,
we'll probably have to do other marketing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And so like it at least helps us to get it at least helps us to get aspects of the marketing done. But yeah, I think we're still gonna have to. At least for now, we're still gonna have to do other marketing. So
I agree.
I think that like the short of it for now, I think you're right. I think we end up at the same place on like what the next step is. The next step, I think, is to launch a mid-ticket offer around the how do you turn your meetings into social content. And yeah, I think you're right. We set up like a get on the wait list. We're looking at building a tool that makes this easy for you. The ideal to me though is just that we literally get paid by the people who want the tool to build the tool. And that part of the process is that we reasonably feel like we could deliver on that. Does that make sense? Like we reasonably feel like our launch date is something that we feel pretty confident that we can do and we have enough money toward it that like it feels like it's worthwhile to build it out now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how that's possible because there's so many unknowns. We've not done any of that before.
Yeah. I wonder if we could do it. Like, would people pay to see a like maybe we could break that down into its parts and see who would pay to see how to build an app with AI, and like, I don't know, like we literally do that as its own workshop, right? Like it's its own thing that we're selling tickets to the building. I don't know.
Yeah. So I got to leave right now. What is our next steps?
Next step, we have clarity on what the mid-ticket offer is, in that we're going to walk through the process of how you build it out manually. We're going to show that process. We're going to tease at a potential solution. So I need to take in our next meeting, we'll take the transcript from this one, run it through my process to turn it into the actual offer. From that, we'll actually be able to promote. We need to set up sales page, promote, set up some of the assets to be able to deliver just like a Zoom webinar. Set up the connections so that when somebody pays, they get added to the Zoom webinar, or think through that process. And then we just need to promote. I think that's our next step of the process. And then we keep we do. We got to just, we'll both keep it in the back of our mind to keep thinking about what this looks like, for how we can, in the time that we have available, turn this opportunity into a product that's real. Because there's value in the software thing itself. I just got to figure out how we leverage the realities of time and budget and all of that to make that happen. So that'll be kind of the open loop of the bigger story that we're still going to be exploring.
We'll figure it out.
Indeed.
All right, cool.
All right.
We're out.
We're out.